Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, welcome to Be My Guest. This is Jan Lewis, your host. Today we have from Wrentham, Elizabeth Randal. And Elizabeth is the CEO of Elizabeth Randal Interior Designs. And I read about Elizabeth in the Westboro News, which goes, well, Elizabeth, it's in the Hopkinton Crier. It hits all over Shrewsbury, Northborough. Meet an interior designer, Elizabeth Randal. Elizabeth, when did you get into this?
Well, I've been doing it actually for a very long time, and I am the CEO, but also the chief bottle washer and everything else. I'm a sole practitioner, so that's kind of nice because I think I have a very good boss, and I can set my own time and stuff. So my story starts because people are always asking. I graduated with a master's degree in classical art history many years ago.
Where'd you go? What school?
To Harvard.
Oh, okay.
And then I wanted to be in museums, and I was blessed to get a job at the Fogg Museum.
Yeah.
And after a while, my boss was moving on from there to start a new group that was overseeing design and construction at a division of Harvard called Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And he lured me away from the museum work, and the first project he had me do was renovating the English department, which at the time it was a beautiful 1840s historic home renovated in the 1870s, and everything in it was painted white.
Where was this, Elizabeth?
At Harvard.
Okay.
It was the English department. And the general guys who usually did this work said, everything's painted white because it's always been painted white. And I said, I think if you take off a switch plate or an outlet cover, you will see there's been many colors in this beautiful home, which was the English department's home. So when we were done with that project, we had used 17 different colors in 18 rooms.
17
different colors in 18 rooms. Some were the same, but with different trim and stuff. And it was such a beautiful place, and it really sung afterwards. And the English department was so pleased.
How long did it take you to get through this?
Oh, usually just a summer. We don't have a lot of time to do these things, but it kind of made my name in terms of I was the color queen from then on in. And I got to work. I was able to, for 22 years, renovate some of the most historic buildings at Harvard. And during that time, I did a lot of interior design work. And it'd be funny because I'd be like meeting with a dean or talking about a project, and the dean would say, I want to paint my living room green. What color green should I paint it? And I'd say,
I don't want to say anything.
I know, it's like, it's not that simple.
No.
Kelly green, lime green, Kermit the Frog green. So, and one of the things that I did at Harvard, which was one of my favorite things, is they have this house system where 300 or 400 kids live in dormitories, and then they have house masters, which typically live in amazing buildings from 1760s to the 1960s. And so I became kind of the go-to person when a new house master would begin. We would renovate. So I have a couple of examples here.
All right, here
so
we go.
This was such a wonderful project.
Can you zero in on this? Is we going to get a little closer, or are we all set? Which was this? What was this one?
This is called Apthorpe House. And it's a 1760s house, and the interiors are just fantastic.
It's called Althorpe?
Apthorpe.
Apthorpe. That's almost like Althorpe in England.
House.
There is an Althorpe in England.
Oh, yes, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
So this is very formal. This is not what this is not what a lot of clients either want or can afford. But it was so fun working with Harvard's money, and these faculty members were wonderful. So we found period wallpapers. We took from different collections the rugs, the paintings, the clocks, and then we did some, I feel very tasteful window treatments and new furnishings and stuff. So it was a really fun project. So I was doing a lot of that kind of thing. Then in 2006, I left Harvard and went out on my own, and I did both a combination of project management and design work and stuff. And I also do preservation consulting, which I really love.
Yeah.
I do work for instance, the The Waterworks Museum in Chestnut Hill, beautiful place. It's these old pumping stations. If people haven't ever gone, they should go. It's free. And I'm working on a McKim Mead and White mansion in Boston right now.
There's a Rhode Island one you've been doing, a home in Rhode Island.
Yes, and actually that, but as the years went on, I felt like I got a little tired with the construction management. There's so much stress with worrying about buildings burning down, buildings falling down, buildings flooding. And
will the construction crew show up?
Well, yes, there's that. And after a while, I just felt like I was a very well-paid babysitter saying, you missed a spot, I'm not going to pay that much. You missed a spot, I'm not going to pay that much. So I really started to focus more specifically on interior design, because it was the part of my job that was the most fun, and it was not as stressful. And I'd kind of done the construction management for a long time. Now I still will offer that to a client, but on a much more reduced level than a $4 million dormitory or something. And that's one of the things that I can really bring to the client, is that when somebody wants to move a wall, I say to them, you don't move walls. You tear a wall down, causing lots of dust and noise and debris.
Open concept.
Yeah, and then you move all of the electrical and mechanical and plumbing, and sometimes you have to deal with structural, and then you build a new wall. And I think that helps the client because it makes their expectations more realistic, both for time, impact on their home or business, and impact on their budget. So there's a lot of, I think, because I can come in and say, well, why don't you make an opening of this size, because then you don't have to head off the door and, and do the structural stuff. So I think that's something I bring to the table.
What's that right there? You've got another one right behind it. What's that one?
Yes, this is one of my favorite projects for a woman in Providence. She approached me and she said, my style is a mashup of chinoiserie.
Now, what is that?
That is kind of having an Asiatic influence, like you can see in a
red.
And then like she's got, they use a lot of kind of bamboo and stuff.
Yeah.
So her style's a mashup of chinoiserie, British Bohemian, and New England preppy. She said, "Can you work with that?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm your
really
girl."
Yeah, it's boho.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she had a
beautiful.
vast library that. We used this deep blue. This was so fun. The man who was reupholstering the couch called me, and I'd used him off, and he's like, I just want to make sure that orange is going on that couch. And I'm like, yes. And it works really well. We had a custom-made rug from a photo that she had of an antique rug, and then we totally redid her kitchen.
I love it. Were the bookcases there already?
No, those are custom made.
You did
and the
that.
Poor gentleman who made them, Carl Evans from Rentham, did a great job because the walls were out of plumb, the floors were out of plumb. It was a 1934 house, so he had a tough time.
I love the way it's all these combined, from boho to what was that? Did you say swishel? What?
Chinoiserie.
Okay, that's Oriental, right? It's
Oriental exactly. And she commissioned had this mural commissioned, and it was just really fun. And she was also really into wallpapers, which I love. I think a lot of people are afraid of wallpapers. I've had more people recently asking for wallpapers, which I love, particularly in places like a stairwell or something where you're not in it all the time.
It looks so 1800s to me.
I know, but there's a lot of really funky wallpapers that you can get now too. Yeah. But these were all from her place. She had a lovely toile for the
I see it for
the bathroom. And what you can't see, but these two little sconces here are two little putti, the little angels, and they're sitting there holding the. She got them from eBay, from France, and so we had to get them rewired. That was
fun. I like
fun.
the colors that are in there.
Well, that's actually a separate project. I didn't want to overwhelm with too many things, but this was her upstairs hallway, and again, you can't really see it, but we took an old bird cage and wired it, and I love on the ceiling you can see all the wires.
Can you get
and stuff.
It's an old bird cage used as a light.
Yeah, so it really it just makes what could be a static space really enlivened and
made it funky.
And I love the wallpaper because it's all it's all trellises, and it gives an outdoor.
I didn't even know they
feel.
sold wallpaper.
Yes.
We've seen some wallpaper companies go out of business.
No,
over
but
the
there's
years.
some, like, this was a Tebow
Yeah.
who I love. They make some really,
Mm-hmm.
the paper's great. This was Scalamandre, which is top of the line, but
Is that a
but
baby
it
crib
was
right
really
there
fun.
in that one?
No,
This is a baby crib.
So this is a separate project, just kind of showing that, because my slogan is your space, your story. I'm not
Yeah.
going to come in and dictate.
See if you can. You want to show up the other one a little bit more? This one right
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, now tell them about this other one.
So anyway, I had a client who wanted staging, and she had a beautiful place, but 1950s place that looked over the water in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. So we staged it for mid-century modern. That was her desire.
Yeah.
So I channeled my inner madman, and so of course we've got the bar cart with the cocktail shaker
Yeah.
and the martini glasses.
Yeah.
And then it was fun, classic
Yeah.
1950s painting that became a carpet. So we
Sure.
picked up the colors from there.
Yeah.
And then this I actually found. This is a salad set that still had its original packaging from the 1950s, and it said it was made out of cherry wood and chromium. And so I
Really?
thought that. So this is a banquette.
Uh-huh.
So we got a period
Yeah.
clock
Very
and
cute.
the.
I love that blue
So
there.
that was
draping.
fun. Yeah, and then I love the little,
Yeah.
such the classic 1950s
Yeah.
bird.
What do you think of? I think one of my favorites. Fortunately, she's having a baby, but I love Joanne and Chip on HGTV's. That one. The other ones are kind of to me. These two, she seems to knock it. She's got elegant simplicity and rustic.
Okay.
It's not. If I look at the other shows, they're too chotsky,
Okay.
too cutesy.
Yeah.
You know that? What's that one? Love It or List It.
Okay.
I like Dave. I like the realtor. The woman that she covers up a lot of things that they couldn't do by putting in too many cute little jotskis.
Oh.
I pick it up right away. I'm like, oh God, no.
No, I am not a
No.
fan. I particularly, when I say this in my on my website, which is ElizabethRandal.com.
Yeah, ElizabethRandal.com, who we are talking
But-
with, and she is the head of
sorry.
Elizabeth Randal Interior Designs, and she is in Rentham. What's your address there? Or do you want to give that out, or your email?
Well, it's kind of it's immaterial because very few people come to my
Sure,
house.
okay.
With designing, I always want to see their space, and typically.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even get into details with them on the phone until I've seen their
Sure,
space because
yeah.
that's what
it's like
you
a doctor,
have to,
you've got to go and show him what's wrong.
Yes.
So it's ElizabethRandal.com, and they'll go right up to your website.
Yep.
And
I
it shows
have
all different things.
Yeah, and then they can write to me, or my phone number is 781-812-3679. Always have the phone close by.
How far will you go, Elizabeth?
I try not to go like all the way into Boston unless it's a really special project like
Yeah.
this preservation project. But then like a woman wanted in Bristol, Rhode Island, which is a beautiful place, she was doing a candy shop. And I had to take that one on,
Yeah.
even though it's a long drive, because how often do you get to design a candy shop? So I will go, depending on the client, but typically I like to try to stay kind of from Providence north to Framingham, Natick area and stuff.
Sure.
But I've traveled all over, and it really depends so much on the project itself.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Now, Elizabeth, what are your favorite colors when you design?
Well, I did mention this.
I
in
was
here.
reading it here.
Well, and it makes me crazy because so many people talk about, what's the trendy color? What's the trendy color? But the reality is you don't paint your interiors for 10 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes 15, sometimes 20. And your exteriors, you're supposed to paint them every 5 to 7 years, but not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So you have to live with those colors, unless you're doing an accent wall or something, or unless you really like to paint. But I haven't met a lot of people that do.
Isn't kind of neutral a big one right now?
It goes from the taupes to the grays to the creams, and I just think there's so many opportunities to really use color in your
gosh,
home.
definitely.
And
Fun colors, too.
Yes.
Lot
So
of
I'm a big fan of Benjamin Moore's Historic Colors collection.
Yeah.
They're my really go-to because they have a depth to their colors that you don't see in a lot of other paints, even other Benjamin Moore paints. So
I get that song in my mind, Colin Sherwin Williams. Who's able? One somebody has a fantastic commercial on. You know the little paint cards you can buy to look at the different colors.
Yes.
It's made out of. You may see it on TV, but it's all they made creatures out of all those different card colors. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, was it something else? Oh, plants. That's a big one.
Yes, yes. And I have been doing a. I have a. Hold on one second. I have a talk that I've been giving. I just gave it at Art Week in Boston, and I've given it at garden clubs and at like Franklin's Lifelong Learning, and it's all about. It's entitled Creating a Haven, and it's all about really incorporating nature to enhance your design.
Yeah.
And the tips are all things that you could do inexpensively and simply. And it's just really kind of thinking about nature and respecting it more and bringing it in. So we talk about, for instance, displaying food. It's so simple, and it helps take space out of your refrigerator, so you're cooling.
That's always good.
And I like fruit at room temperature.
Yeah.
But look at how beautiful.
Yeah.
Oranges in a blue and white bowl. It doesn't
I love
get
the hanging.
simpler.
I've always loved
yes,
the hanging.
that's terrific. And then we talk about simple things like putting some flowers on your windowsill. So when you're doing your dishes, you're kind of meditating as you do your dishes.
I noticed that they're using very simplistic things, even on that show Fixer Upper. Simple little things and one flower out of
Yes.
it. I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really good.
And then, just plants. I people keep saying, I can't grow a plant. I can't grow a plant. But they're so easy, and you can go. Pinterest is one of my favorite tools, which we'll get to in a second. But you go on Pinterest and you search, and up comes so many, plants that you can't kill. Plants that you can't kill. Succulents are big right now, and those. Are so easy to grow. So and plants clean the air. They're an inexpensive way to fill a spot in a corner that that is kind of an odd spot. What do you do with that and stuff? And then I always say this is actually my home and my two dogs.
Oh, yeah.
So I also end the talk by saying if you really want to bring nature in, adopt an animal.
I should put you in touch with, and I'm going to give her afterwards, Elaine McNana. She is a woman who has been on a number of times on our show, and she's a member of the Greenleaf Garden Association over here in Milford.
Okay.
They have a huge 50th annual, like a flower show coming on. But I bet they'd love to have you come and speak. So
okay,
I will
yes,
connect
I
you
would.
to. I'd love to connect my guests.
Yes.
That's, what is this
Been
you
a
have
fun
right? Is that
project.
your official right here? Let's hold that up.
Oh, okay.
Let's hold. This is her official, so if you really want to know who she is, right there. Elizabeth Randal. I swear when I was growing up, my parents knew a Randal family, and are you from around here?
No, it's my husband's name, and he's from Southern California. But don't hold that against him.
No.
And in fact, this is fun because he, when we made my business card for design, we were thinking about how we wanted to represent it, and we were at Restoration Resources, which is a great resource in Boston, and they had all these mantles.
Yeah.
And at first I was going to do a photo of a mantle because I like the hearth and home and stuff, and then somebody said, no, do a drawing so that people can then kind of put themselves more into it. So my husband did the drawing, so he's a very talented
Good for
artist.
him.
Huh?
So what does he do? What do you do in the off hours?
No, really, when he's not helping me.
Does he work outside the home?
Yes, he does. He works at Kramer, which is a company in Norwood that does. I'm sorry, Kramer, but I never know how to describe exactly what they do. But he'll design sets for when a client wants to launch a product or have a trade show or something like that. So
Elizabeth, do you do staging when people
yes,
show? Oh,
that was that one.
Very good. That's that
mid-century
one.
modern, yes. And that's really fun to do because there are so many simple ways that you can really make your house sing without spending a lot of money and stuff, and just kind of highlighting the pieces that we think others would be interested in. So I like to do the staging.
I learned that
too.
when you're going to sell your house, you're the expert. They say get rid of all your family photos, right? Nobody wants to see that. They want to picture themselves in there.
Right. They don't want to feel like they're that somebody else has occupied the space. They want to feel like it's theirs and fresh and stuff. I mean, unless you have a historic home where somebody might have lived there, and you want to emphasize the how the home has been important to people for years and stuff. Then I would advocate keep up the the early relatives thing, because people who buy historic homes often want to feel that presence.
That's what they're attracted to.
Yes,
they love it.
Yeah,
there's so many different ones out there. I've got a friend who's in a log cabin.
Oh,
locally. I'm like, okay, that works for them. When somebody is staging their home, and let's see, they're thinking, not staging, I mean decorating, home decor, would you suggest they do it themselves if they're good, or if they call Elizabeth?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's not just... What I get is a lot of clients who call me and say, I really think I'm almost there, but I'm not there. Or they'll say, I don't want to make purchases that then prove to be a mistake, so I'm just looking for somebody who can give a fresh eye. And I've had clients, one of my favorite clients, she called and she said, I have been living with my 3 teenage college kids for a long time with mostly cast-off college furniture, and I want to be a big girl. But I went, and by the time we were done moving things around, a couple things I did say that should go to recycling, but by the time we were done, the only things that she ended up purchasing was one chair, and I identified, this is the corner, because she loved to read. I was like, this should be your corner.
The dedicated corner of reading.
And it was and she hadn't kind of gotten the concept that, her kids are all going to be gone, so she can have this house. So by the time we were done, she bought one chair, one round carpet, and she even repurposed a table that she said, should I not use this? It was one of those table lamp things. And I said, no, just get a new shade, and it's perfectly fine. So it was so sweet afterwards, because she sent me a photo of the table with a new, very cute lamp shade on it, and she was like, "Thank you so much." So it's very nice.
Advocate. I think this is great. You don't go to yard sales or like Brimfield the fairs and all, even the thrift shops. You can find some really great. You talk about lampshades, right?
Oh yes. Well, and in Norwood right now, my favorite place right now is the Mill Center. I forget what it's called, but Google.
Is it a thrift shop?
It's a series of different people. It's a series of old mills, and different people have different bays almost.
Like crafters, artists?
It's mostly people who, well, it is artists, but it's people who have like reconditioned furniture, stuff like that. And you'll go from one store where it's all very Victorian and
the next one might be funky and modern.
Right. And I found in one, I'm a big fan of Art Deco. For $50, I found one of those fantastic makeup dresser things where you just would sit there in your satin bias gown and do your makeup.
Did somebody want it for
No, I have it in my house. It was $50. I brought it home.
Did you repaint it?
No. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous woodwork. Gorgeous.
Was it an antique?
Yes.
You found it
the
for
original
$50.
thing. I think because it's tiny, and we're so much bigger, particularly me, but so I don't think people could envision them sitting at it for its original use, but it was in great shape, and I was amazed.
You looked in.
Yes.
You really did.
Yes.
It's amazing. I'll get a kick out of what you could find at the side of the road.
Yes.
People would throw it. I'm like, one time I was driving with a friend of mine, and we were in Grafton, and we're driving up the hill, and I went, hold it. I knew she needed a computer table. I said, I don't believe this. She's looking at me like, you're nuts. I said, stop. We got out. I ran over. I said, look at this. It was like a brand new computer table. I said, let's squash it. I have a sedan, but we squashed it in the car, and we got it to her.
That's great.
It was like brand new.
I know.
Why wouldn't you?
And I love that. I mean, and that's such a Yankee thing that, because we've got a sign we've made and everything that says free, and we'll put stuff at the up at the end of the driveway. And we had a 20-year-old leather couch that the dogs had sat on. We and finally it's like, we can't. We've got to be grown-ups. So we put it up there, and within a half an hour, a man and his son were loading it, and he explained the son was a college kid who
Needed it.
you know, yeah, and it's like, oh, it'll have another 20 years and some.
What would you suggest to people who put their furniture out there and it rains? Who's going to want
Well, I know.
mean,
You
I don't
see
want
that a lot.
I don't want an old moldy, wet
Yes,
couch.
that's true. Well,
Yeah.
we figured that would go that day.
But
it was
and
leather.
leather's cool.
Yes,
leather
yes.
is very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to get back to in terms of hiring a designer, one thing that I do that I don't think a lot of other designers, or I know some designers don't do, is I get a lot of discounts through, and particularly things like wallpaper, fabrics.
That's great.
Yeah. And then many stores.
So they know you.
Well,
You get-
no, they give me the discount because I'm a designer,
Yeah.
and the idea is I'm making their job easier, particularly with stores.
Sure.
So what I do is I basically just charge a flat rate for my time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I give them the discounts. And a lot of designers will keep the discounts for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a way that, you know, I had a client bought $6,000 worth of furniture and saved 20%, so it more than paid for my time with them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's something that not everybody does, and
Yeah,
I don't really like that aspect of interior design because I'm such a straight shooter that the whole idea of, well, I'll take part of the discount, you take part of the discount, and I even one day was having a light refurbished for a client, and the man said, what do you want me to put on, you know, here's how much it costs, what do you want me to put on the invoice? So in other words, that I could take my percentage, and I was like, no, just put the truth on the invoice. Truth is good, especially these days, huh?
We're talking with Elizabeth Randal, very good, and she is Elizabeth Randal of Interior Designs, and she's in Rentham, and they can reach you at?
781-812-3679, or my website is elizabethrandal.com.
Now.
Didn't I cleverly name that
She's very,
website?
yes, oh yes. So, and now you're a busy girl. Is there like, are you booked throughout a particular time?
It is so amazing to me. I've had clients that for 2 years I've been working with to acquire certain furniture for them, but they're off doing so many other things. So every once in a while an email will show up, and then I've had other clients that have said, you know, I need this now. So it's kind of, fortunately, because I work for myself, I'm able to kind of take things on, you know, when it works. I put a lot of things aside to do that staging because the client said, you know, and she was a repeat client, and she's terrific, and this is when I need it done. So, you know, I can definitely be available.
Elizabeth, do you base fees on the job or just general?
I generally stick to a fee just so I can remember what it is.
A general one, okay, a general fee.
So, but, you know, if somebody, like I say, if somebody has something that's kind of unique or different, you know, we can talk it through. I'm very, very flexible. I'm not, you know, I'm not going to dictate. And
How long have you been doing this now?
well, counting the Harvard time, I would say it's probably been 25 years.
It doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem like she's been out. That's where did you originally come in from? This area? Did you grow up out here?
No, we kind of grew up all over the East Coast. My father was in sales, and some in
So
the
was
Midwest.
mine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we kind of kept going to new territories as he would
It makes the
conquer.
person kind
the
of well
territories.
rounded. You know,
I feel that
you
way.
live in suburbia, maybe you lived near the city or whatever. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. And I went to college way out in the country in the White Mountains area.
Oh, okay.
And you were at
I went
Harvard.
to I went to University of Vermont for undergrad.
I was at Plymouth State University,
you go.
New Hampshire. There you go.
All right.
This has been a lot of Elizabeth.
Beautiful
Thanks so
area.
much. Elizabeth Randal, Interior Design. She's out in Rentham. Give her a holler if you would like to have your place. You'll do everything, right? Living rooms, bedrooms.
Oh, anything.
There she goes.
And commercial work, shops.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Even a porch, an indoor porch, that type of thing.
Oh, sure.
Ooh.
Sure. And I do gardening, landscape design, so.
She knows how to put it all together. Let me tell you.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you
Nice
next
to
time. You'll
meet
be my
you.
guest.
All right.